I stood in our dimly lit kitchen, the clock ticking past midnight, holding a stack of printed emails that felt like shards of glass in my hands. My husband's face drained of color as he stared at them, his mouth opening and closing without a sound. How did you get these? He finally whispered, but I didn't answer. I just let the silence crush him, the way his secrets had been crushing me for years. That moment shattered everything I thought I knew about us. My name is Elena, I'm 38, a graphic designer living in Seattle. I'd been married to Mark for 9 years, building what I believed was a solid life together in our cozy craftsman home near Green Lake. We met at a tech conference. He was a software engineer, always buried in code and late-night projects. At first, his ambition drew me in. I admired how he chased promotions, how he'd come home exhausted but still kiss my forehead and ask about my day. But over time the distance crept in like fog off the sound. He'd skip our weekend walks around the lake claiming deadlines. Dinners became me eating alone while he tapped away on his laptop in the den. Intimacy faded too, not dramatically but in quiet ways. I turned back in bed, a mumbled "not tonight" that stretched into weeks, then months. I chalked it up to stress, to the grind of city life. I even suggested counseling once, but he brushed it off with a laugh. "We're fine, Al. Just busy." I believed him because I wanted to, because admitting otherwise meant facing the emptiness I'd been ignoring. It started with small inconsistencies. His phone would buzz at odd hours, and he'd angle the screen away from me. He'd mention team-building trips that weren't on the company calendar. I knew because I designed their flyers. One evening, after he'd left for another late meeting, I found his work bag unzipped on the couch. Inside was a receipt for a boutique hotel downtown, dated for a weekend he'd told me he was visiting his brother in Portland. My heart pounded as I stared at it, but I shoved it back, telling myself it was nothing. Client lunch, maybe. Denial is a powerful drug. But doubts gnawed at me. I began paying attention. His browser history showed searches for romantic getaways, but none we'd discussed. Then came the emails. I'd never snooped before, it felt beneath me, but one sleepless night, I logged into our shared cloud account for a design file and saw a folder labeled Archives. Curiosity pulled me in. There they were. Messages from a woman named Sophia, his coworker. Not just flirty banter but full-blown plans. Weekend escapes to Whidbey Island, whispered promises of leaving their spouses. "You're the one who gets me," he'd written. "Elena just exists in my life." Reading that felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just physical betrayal. It was emotional erasure. He'd been building a parallel world where I was the inconvenient backdrop, my love reduced to convenient habit. The humiliation burned deep. I'd poured myself into our marriage, planning anniversaries he forgot, supporting his career while mine took a back seat. And all along, he'd been mocking my trust behind closed doors. Sophia's replies were laced with pity for me. Poor thing, she has no idea. It damaged more than our romance. It stripped my dignity, making me question every memory. Was our wedding vow just a script to him? Had I been blind, or had he been that good at hiding? I didn't confront him right away. I printed everything, dozens of pages, and tucked them away, letting the knowledge simmer. For weeks I observed him like a stranger. He'd come home, peck my cheek, and I'd smile, my stomach twisting. The charade gave me time to process, to steel myself. Finally, on a rainy Friday evening, as he sipped his coffee after dinner, I slid the stack across the table. "What's this?" he asked, flipping through. His eyes widened, coffee mug forgotten. "Elena, this isn't what it looks like." I kept my voice steady, though my hands trembled under the table. "It looks like you've been sleeping with Sophia for 2 years, planning a life without me." He leaned back, rubbing his temples. "It was a mistake. Stress at work, you know? We grew apart." "Grew apart?" I echoed, my throat tight. "You wrote that I was just convenient. That you never felt passion with me, only obligation." He met my gaze, and there it was, the brutal truth. "Fine. You want honesty? Yeah, that's how I felt. You were safe, Elena. Reliable. But Sophia, she excites me. Your feelings? They stopped mattering when I realized this marriage was a cage." The words landed like ice. No rage, no apologies. Just cold admission. I felt my world tilt. Tears came, but I didn't beg. A cage? I built this life with you. Supported you through layoffs, your mom's illness. And I'm the cage. He shrugged. I didn't ask for that. You chose to stay. That shrug broke me. I stood, leaving the papers scattered. In our bedroom, I collapsed on the floor, sobs racking my body. Who was I without him? The woman who dimmed her own light to let his shine? Hours passed in that haze of grief, self-doubt crashing like waves. But amid the pain, clarity emerged. I wasn't the problem. His betrayal revealed his flaws, not mine. I stopped replaying his words, started hearing my own voice. You deserve better than scraps. The turning point came that night. I packed a bag, called my sister in Tacoma, and drove through the storm. No dramatic exit speech, just a note. I'm done being convenient. Divorce papers followed, handled quietly through lawyers. He fought at first, citing assets, but my evidence silenced him. No courtroom theatrics, just the quiet weight of truth. Rebuilding wasn't instant. I moved to a small apartment in Ballard, threw myself into freelance work. Therapy helped unpack the humiliation, turning it into fuel. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected, took solo hikes in the Olympics where the fresh air cleared my head. Mark. He lost his job. Office gossip about the affair spread. Sophia left him soon after. But I didn't gloat. That wasn't justice, it was consequence. Months later, I ran into him at a coffee shop. He looked smaller, regret in his eyes. Elena, I messed up. I nodded. You did. And walked away head high. Looking back, that betrayal taught me the power of quiet evidence, not just against him but for myself. Secrets erode trust, but facing them rebuilds you stronger. If you're in a relationship where you're begging for scraps, listen to that inner voice. Set boundaries early. Demand respect always. Healing takes time, but on the other side is freedom. Not from pain but toward a life where you're the priority. It's not optimistic fairy tale. It's hard-won truth. And it's worth every step.